All right, what's up, guys? I think we're doing the blueberry coffee today. Yeah, we're doing the blueberry coffee. I kind of don't. Oh my god, it smells so good. Like it just wafts blueberry muffin up into my face the moment I touch it. I'm not regretting that it takes a little bit of extra work to. What is this down here? Oh, Sumatra. Okay. Um, yeah. So I'm still working on getting better, obviously. Oh God, it smells so good. Mmm. All right, let me count this out, especially with the brain fog I still have. Don't want to lose count. We need one, two, three, four, five. I should combine these like mostly empty bags of Sumatra and breakfast blend and whatever into the tin and just make the unholy amalgamation coffee that happens at the end of the bags. This bag is staying entirely by itself the entire time until like it's just used up. So, yeah, I'm definitely getting better, but I'm still struggling with like the brain fog. The cough is hit or miss. Uh, it's not as bad as it used to be, but it's still there, obviously. I don't like saying obviously. It's condescending. But my the main thing I'm really missing is the energy to stream right now, unfortunately. Doesn't mean I'm not working though. What I've been using this time to do, in addition to job applications and all that, is I am going through the long backlog of streams on my hard drive and uploading them to YouTube. Now, I haven't really started posting them on YouTube yet, but maybe that's today because that takes more brain energy. I gotta like click through the stream and see what it was about and come up with a title because it doesn't save the VODs, like the stream titles. So I generally just title it like whatever I was talking about during the stream or whatever I was doing. So the big plan right now is to hopefully be able to go live by the end of the week, but just low energy streams are never a good thing unless it's like some kind of heavy topic or something you need to talk about. But in this case, I'm just still a little sick. So I am just doing all this backlog for two reasons. One, it just needs to be done. I wanted to get these streams uploaded for forever. Not only the streams, but like the cereal videos. Guys, I have a whole new boxes of cereal to finish. I might have gotten too close. I really wish I could just turn this camera app around. I have a whole new series of cereals to review, and I haven't uploaded the old reviews yet. They're there. Some of them are even edited at this point, but I need to switch back and forth between channels, and YouTube is weird trying to be logged into two channels actively at once. You can have both. You can have multiple channels like linked to your account at the same time, and you can click to switch between them. But trying to upload to 2 channels at once from the same computer gets all weird. Plus, those serial videos are like 10 minutes long each, so they don't take very long to upload. It's the streams that are annoying, especially the longer streams, because the maximum video lengths, unless you do some weird fucky shit, I still have no idea how people get like the 24 hours of view log on there. But the maximum video length is 12 hours. So, anytime I have a stream that's over 12 hours, I need to break it into 2 parts. That's actually the stream right now. I just finished editing and normalizing a stream, clipping out the just starting section at the beginning. I don't do any editing on stream VODs except to normalize the volume, clip out the just starting section, and then whatever YouTube demands. Sometimes there's some copyright claims that I don't feel like are worth fighting. For example, there's a video in the pipe right now where I watched the Macaulay Culkin, I think it was, First We Feast Hot Ones, and they put some claims on that, preventing the video from being viewed in all regions or something like that, or at least certain regions. So I'm told YouTube just to trim that section out, because I don't really care. Now, if it's something like, I do want to stream this week, maybe even tonight, if possible, if I can get my energy up with this coffee, because there's a new Poppy song I want to review. So when it's something like me learning to play a song on guitar, or me providing commentary on a new released song, or talking about like some of the rap beef or something, then I will fight the claim as fair use. But the problem is people abuse the copyright system in a way that was never intended, and then they don't interact with it the way they're supposed to. So what happens is that claim gets like stuck on the video, because technically they're supposed to respond and say, yeah, we absolutely have the right to claim this because it's not fair use and it belongs to us. But they don't, right? They just use it as a platform for censorship to prevent people from saying things they don't like. Certain content creators are really bad at that too, but I personally don't think I've ever run into any issues with other content creators. It's just always the massive corporations abusing YouTube's copyright claim system in a way that wasn't intended. So what happens is they don't even respond to my counterclaim. They just ignore it, which is cool for me, right? Because obviously they know that we're in the wrong. And eventually the video gets taken back up. But the problem is, because YouTube's system is so fucky, the video has that claim on it for the entire time, even if they're ignoring their responsibility to address the claim. So, like, that's clearly some really evil bullshit. Because mind you, this is the same company that stole like every book in existence to use it to train their AI. which I would argue is absolutely not fair use. Oh, it's delicious. It literally just tastes like a blueberry muffin with like the sugar crumbles on top. So, and one of the primary reasons why is because one of the most important aspects of fair use is that it's not supposed to be a replacement for the original work. But the entire purpose of generative AI is to replace the original work. So I just find it insanely hypocritical that one of the biggest abusers of the copyright system is also one of the companies that breaks copyright law worse than anyone out there. Oh, it still just hit me out of nowhere. Yeah, but you have to pick your battles, right? With the First Sweet Feast stuff, I could probably argue that it was fair use because I was reacting to and commentating on the conversation, but it's one random video that a fan asked me to check out while I was eating dinner on stream. I'm not losing any sleep over not having that in the VOD. Worst case scenario, people are like, hey, why is there like random patches cut out of the stream? I'd be like, ask First We Feast, you know? That's them. But it does really annoy me with the music, especially because that's where I want my focus to be more and more, where I'm commenting, I'm reviewing a song, and then they try to copyright claim the entire video just because I'm reviewing the song. Like, it's just some evil shit. But yeah, the main thing I'm doing right now is clearing out the hard drive, getting all that shit uploaded to YouTube. And I do want to stream soon because there's a new Poppy song I haven't heard yet, and I want to give my live reaction to the Poppy song. I love every single song she's ever put out. So I'm just really looking forward to it. I'm sorry. I still have the brain fog. It's hard to organize my thoughts entirely, which I guess is another reason that I'm not necessarily good on streaming. It's hard to have a stream of consciousness when your consciousness isn't streaming. But the other reason I want to really work on this is I'm thinking of upgrading my operating system again. I do very much enjoy Linux Mint. It's nice to be free of all the Windows bullshit, but it still has some areas where it's not exactly the most user-friendly, and a few stability issues here and there. I entirely bricked the system once when I was trying to change some like boot or storage settings, and I had to roll back to a previous timestamp. Plus, there's a weird thing where it doesn't handle multi-drive boots, especially when your home folder is encrypted quite as easily as Windows does. And that's causing all kinds of little issues, especially because since it seems to do so much of the emulation for Windows in the home folder. It's kind of messed things up where I'm just constantly running out of space. And the problem isn't that I don't have enough space. I have two terabyte hard drives and I think they're 2 terabyte. It's either two terabytes or two 1 terabyte hard drives. My brain's just not working right now. I should know this. And then 256 gigabyte drive. So one of the big drives is an SSD. The other one is an old hard drive. The 256 gigabyte drive, it's much smaller. That one is just intended as the boot drive. It's faster than the other SSD that I have. It was like the top of the top of the line SSD I could get at the time when I built the PC. It's like a Patriot. God, I really hate this phone app. Just about everything about the Google Pixel is so fucking insanely frustrating. It ran out of space mid-video on me again. It didn't tell me until it was actually just ran out. There's this thing where it will pop up once and it's like, you're low on memory, and then it just disappears again. It's up for like 5 seconds. How am I supposed to see that when I'm not even looking at the phone? I miss my Google, no, not my Google, my Samsung phone, where it would tell me exactly how much recording time was left in the camera app interface. It also would just let me switch between the front and back camera while I was in the middle of a video, which I feel like is such basic camera functionality that it makes no sense to me that Google doesn't have that. There's like the biggest corporation, the one that's behind Android even being a thing, really, and yet their own flagship phones lack basic functionality that every other Android has. What the fuck? It's just like everything is getting shittier but costs more money at the same time. There's another problem I have with it, but I don't remember what it is. I want to eventually, one of the things I've been working on in the background is a plan to do my own camera app to solve this issue. But I just haven't had the time, primarily because of the renovations in this place. So I have a plan written down. I just haven't started coding it or anything. Like the features I want, how I'm going to go about it. There's actually 2 apps I'm working on. Another app I want is a Sabbath tracker, just to help me keep track of when the Sabbath starts and ends. But one of the reasons there's this new Linux OS. Mutahar of Some Ordinary Gamers, the engineer, recently did a video about this new OS, and he said it's more stable than Linux. It's like apparently a modification of Arch Linux, which Arch Linux is interesting. It's like arguably the best Linux, but only if you know a lot about Linux. It's one of those things where it's highly customizable, and you basically need to be a Linux power user to really get the ultimate, to really get the full extent of its capabilities out of it without fucking it up entirely. But apparently, I don't even remember what it's called now. Just go look it up on Mutahar's channel, Some Ordinary Gamers. But there's this new Linux distro out that I'm interested in trying. I was planning on wiping and reinstalling Linux Mint originally, because with the weird way that, so there's two things that I've discovered with the multi-drive setup that Linux Mint does weird, that really annoys me. It's really difficult to get it to put things not in the home folder by default. And since my operating system is on the home folder by default, uh, since my operating system is on, I mean, the small hard drive, the small SSD that I have, it puts all that shit in the home folder on the small SSD. And then I end up running out of space on the small 256 gigabyte SSD, where I have like a 2 fucking terabyte SSD and a 2 terabyte hard drive that it could be putting shit on instead. Well, the 2 terabyte hard drive, I just use that to store the stream VODs basically, or like song recordings, anything that's like super big file size that doesn't need to be loaded quickly, essentially. I'd love to eventually replace that with another SSD, especially because it's getting up there in age, but that's an aside. That's just a random tangent. So the important thing is that um, there's lots of things that it just puts in the home file by default that even when I've tried to move them, oftentimes, and even when I have successfully moved them, it will create new stuff that goes in the home folder instead of the new directory I've created for it. For example, Steam ends up being a big issue, whereas even though I have my Steam library on the 2 terabyte SSD, it keeps wanting to emulate stuff in the home folder. So one of the first issues I ran into was when I was doing WoW Classic Hardcore. I I actually ran out of memory on the home folder so badly that it wouldn't even let me boot the system, and I had to use my USB to do a live boot from the USB and delete some files to make space in the home folder so it would actually boot from the regular SSD, not my USB. And I discovered the second problem then at that point. But what happened was, even though my Steam library is on the large SSD, when I would emulate other games using the Steam Proton layer, especially, it doesn't seem to be as bad with games that just emulate directly. For example, Marvel Rivals runs fine. But games that install and then install the game again through a launcher, like World of Warcraft, where I had to install Battle.net and run that under a compatibility layer, and then install World of Warcraft on the virtual machine within that it is created by the compatibility layer. That ended up going on the main home folder, even though the Steam directory itself and the original installation exe of Battle.net were all on the large SSD. So that's one of the big issues I've had with it. So part of the plan is to, originally was just to wipe the system, and even though it's slower than the small SSD by like a little bit, still they're both NVMe drives, so way faster than an old school hard drive or even a SATA based SSD. But it's just, the fact that I have super complicated pathing all the time, and like any software I install, I need to like fix the file pathing constantly. It's an endless frustration for me. It's nowhere near as simple as doing that on Windows. And so the plan was to wipe Linux and reinstall Linux Mint originally, except for this time, instead of installing it on the small SSD, I'm going to install it on the large SSD. Also, I mentioned that encryption has been causing a problem. I have my home drive encrypted primarily because I don't really want people to like steal the music or things I'm working on, right? And a lot of people don't know this, but if your hard drive isn't encrypted, all it takes for someone to steal everything on your computer is for someone to plug a USB with an operating system into your computer and then use that live boot USB to access your hard drives and read them. That's the way I recover data from my mom whenever she destroys a laptop. But the problem with the encrypted drive is, on top of the pathing already being fucked up, it seems like the Linux drive encryption works a little bit differently than Windows, in that often Linux can't access its own encrypted files and view them correctly. So even when I put in the drive encryption passwords, the files themselves were still encrypted, and I had no idea what I was looking at. And I was trying to delete things to make space to start the PC up again, because this was when I was having that issue where the home drive filled up and it wouldn't let me boot normally. I had no idea what these files were, because they were all just encrypted files. And two, it made it really hard to figure out what was even causing these files to just appear out of nowhere and fill up my boot drive in the first place. Because even in like the basic file manager, they were just showing up as their encrypted file names. So it was so insanely frustrating. I think the plan now is to just not encrypt any of the drives on my default PC. If I ever get a laptop, I'll definitely encrypt those drives. I have a mini netbook, but I mean, like, if I ever get like a new laptop that's designed for like remote streaming or anything, I will absolutely encrypt those drives on anything that leaves the house. But the plan now, I have an old external hard drive that I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to get working. But I also have multiple USB sticks at this point. So I think the plan now is to, when I reinstall Linux, I think I'm going to switch to the new distro. I want to do a little bit more research on it before I do. But when I switch to the new distro, Linux, when I reinstall Linux, I am going to not encrypt the drives this time. I'm also just going to install the home folder on my main hard drive, even though it's slightly slower than the smaller one. And I'll probably just put the games that need the fastest response time on the SSD. Like, the whole reason I got that SSD in the first place was Tarkov. When Tarkov first came out, I think I might have had just the boot SSD and not the large 2 terabyte SSD for game storage. I had Tarkov installed on the hard drive, and it was actually crazy how much later I would load in than everyone else. I'm pretty sure there was one time I loaded into Tarkov and my entire squad was already dead from spawn campers, but I was the only one that was alive. So I just looted my squad's bodies and then ran directly to the exfil because the spawn campers had already moved on, right? That was a pretty funny time. But it wasn't funny most of the time. Just standing there. There were also times where I loaded in dead, right? Because like my character model appeared before the screen appeared for me. I would be like loading in 2 to 3 minutes later after my friends. So we'll probably just put. I don't play Tarkov anymore. I would like to give that Arc Raiders game a try. That sounds kind of fun. But any game that I notice really suffers from load times, we'll put that on the tiny SSD, which is faster, and then run just about everything normally on the large SSD. Again, the other thing I really want to do is install Graphene OS on this phone. That's the only thing that seems nice about the Pixel is, ironically, as much as it's like the most terrible Android phone by default, it has this special operating system that is one of the most secure in existence, that is pretty much specific to Google Pixels. So it's like a double-edged sword. It's the worst Android phone out of the box, but it can become the best Android phone if you install a new operating system. I feel like fixing my PC issues are higher priority than the phone issues. It's mostly important just that I have like a working phone to keep in touch with family and friends and stuff. And that's the other thing I want to do this week while I'm still sort of low energy and can't really stream at the level I'd like to, is I'm going to go through social media, get in contact with everyone. I haven't really been on social media since October 29th because that's my birthday, and I don't go on social media at all on my birthday simply because of like the massive influx of stuff. It would just be a waste of time. But I do like to go and thank everyone who wished me happy birthday. Normally I do that like later in the week, but I've spent 2 weeks bedridden basically. So I also want to look at the responses to some of my content. I don't read, well, at this point, I do read everything just because I'm such a small creator, but I won't always read everything. But I do read the feedback. But here's the thing. If you're going to give me feedback, actually give me feedback. Don't just say some stupid shit like no period, because that doesn't help me make the content better. It's just like whatever. I'm gonna assume one of three things if that's the kind of response I get. One is you're a bot. And that's if I don't know you, that's the most likely scenario statistically, because dead internet theory, look it up. There's more bot traffic on the internet than there is human traffic these days. So if you're just saying some like really stupid low level bullshit, I'm just going to, and I don't know who you are, I'm just going to assume you're a bot. Um, the second thing is, um, if I know you're not a bot and you don't provide any type of actual feedback, I'm just going to assume you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Because most people these days don't know what the fuck they're talking about. I am very careful with what I say before I say it. And I'm not saying I always get everything right, but we have this epidemic, especially among content creators, of people just talking out of their ass, saying a whole bunch of shit that doesn't make any sense and not thinking any of it through. And I think like two of the worst examples of this right now are Hassan um, and iDubbbz, and we'll give an honorable mention to Valkyrae because she's just on some dumb shit lately. But they will literally contradict themselves mid-sentence because they aren't even thinking. It's just like constant verbal diarrhea. You can know you can tell there's one of two things going on. Either there's like no brain activity up there, or all their brain activity is dedicated to how do I get more views, right? And they don't actually care about principles or morality or anything like that. All they care about is the attention economy. So if you're just gonna say no, period, and like not give me any kind of feedback, I'm just going to assume that there's like no higher functions going on in that brain because there's nothing. It's like bare minimum, right? It's like a monkey could type no. Um, the third thing, which I think is the smallest scenario, really, but still pretty likely, given everything I've seen on the internet these days, is people that just simply disagree because they do think, but they don't understand. You know, they don't have the experience I have, they don't have the education I have, they don't have the amount of time staring at the wall contemplating the mysteries of life that I have. So it's one of those things where it's I guess you could say it's kind of in a land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king type thing. I know I don't have all the answers. In fact, that's why I'm constantly seeking the answers. But I look around at most people and I'm just like, oh my God, how are you so short sighted and selfish and cruel and stupid? So I give that third group the most grace, obviously. I feel like there's nothing that can be done for the literal bots. There's nothing that could be done for people that don't use those brains. You know, like the Hobson line. Matter of fact, you don't even deserve a brain. Give me it. But I feel like the third group, as long as there's not intentionally bad actors, because there's always those people that just want to mess things up and they know what they're doing and it's wrong, but they do it anyways because it entertains them or it makes them money. As long for that third group, as long as there's not intentionally bad actors, I do my best to enlighten them. I try and create an open forum for everyone to have these discussions and everyone to grow. So I love the feedback you guys give me. I just wish it were better feedback that were actionable. That like, why do you disagree? What is it that you fail to understand about what I said type things? Let's have these open back and forth conversations instead of just no, period. You know? So, yeah, that's the plan right now for this week, is to just focus on getting my energy levels back. After I finish this cup of coffee, I'm going to see if I can lift without hacking up a lung, and hopefully that will help my energy levels a bit. I just have this weird brain fog too, where it kind of feels like I'm high, like the after effects of high and drunk. You know, when that like starts to wear off when you're coming down. But obviously, God, I gotta stop saying that. Where did that fucking come from? But I'm completely sober right now. So it's not any of that. It's just like the weird whatever the fuck hit me really hard, made me really sick, and fucked up my brain chemistry, I guess. But yeah, my goal this week is to get my energy and focus back up and clear out as much of that hard drive as I can. Like, we're just doing constant uploads right now. I don't even care if I get the videos posted on YouTube. I just want them in the YouTube servers so that I can wipe and reinstall my OS and fix some of the minor PC problems I've been having, so I can streamline my efficiency. Then after that, we'll work on fixing the phone OS. And of course, in the constant thing we're doing 100% of the time in the background is just applying for jobs and renovating the house. We finally got the dryer sorted. The new dryer should be coming on Wednesday. So that's a huge thing, because I have a massive pile of laundry from when I was sick, like sheets that I was like cold sweating into in the middle of the night, and a bunch of just like flannels and sweatpants. That was all I was wearing. All that stuff needs clean, but it's kind of hard to do that when it takes like a day and a half to dry each load out by hanging it, and I only have enough space to hang one load per time. Whereas with a dryer, I can do like 3 loads per day instead of 1 load every other day. So I'm really looking forward to finally getting that fixed, because then once the dryer arrives, I can finish the touch up in the basement, because I didn't want to do the touch up in the basement just to have the delivery guys come in, bring the new dryer, and like scrape it along the ground and mess up the finish. And then I gotta do a touch up again. You know, I like just doing things right the first time, but it's really hard when other people don't keep their end of the bargain, and then I'm just waiting for that to happen. But also, when my mom was up here, we went to Home Depot, got some color swatches so she could look at what colors she wants in the bedrooms, and she took those back with her. I don't know if she specifically decided on something yet. She was gonna ask my dad. I don't think my dad really cares too much, but it is their place. I'm just renovating it for them. So I wanted to I want to get their opinion on it, and whatever they decide, they're going to let me know, and then we'll paint the rooms that color. And once the rooms are done, we will refinish those wood floors. And then all that really needs to be done is to paint the kitchen. The bathroom kind of needs a little bit of work. It needs a lot of work. I'd say of all the individual rooms, besides the cat piss soaked basement, which was, that literally took like a month or two just on its own to deal with. But of all the remaining rooms, the bathroom is the worst. The entire bathtub is going to need recocked, and there's some areas in the wall where there were like really bad patch jobs. They didn't even paint afterwards. It's like they didn't even smooth or sand the spackling or anything. So I'm gonna have to probably dig out and fix those patches if they don't sand down properly, recaulk around the whole bathtub to prevent some of the water running into the basement that runs down there sometimes. And then I'm going to need to paint it, which it shouldn't be that hard to paint because it's a really small bathroom. It's like barely, it's like a powder room that has a bathtub and a shower in it. And that's fine. I don't need a big bathroom. I prefer having a small bathroom anyways, because like why would you devote a bunch of space to the room that you spend the least amount of time and all you do is shit and shower, right? So, and this is even my place. It was originally kind of, I think, is supposed to be a little bit my place, but there's just been too many issues here. The promises that were made to me when I moved in here weren't kept. So there's now a whole lot of negative memories here that I don't want to carry with me. So the entire plan is to just finish the renovations, stack some cash, and then move. I don't even want to live in this climate to begin with. It was always kind of just a temporary situation, but I thought it was going to be a potentially longer temporary situation. Now I just want to get the fuck out of here as fast as possible. Move somewhere that's like Arizona, Oklahoma, Texas, somewhere warm where I probably won't ever need to look at snow again unless there's like some kind of freak storm that collapses all of Texas's power infrastructure. But anyways, yeah, that's enough rambling for today, I think. The fucking video cutting off halfway definitely destroyed my focus. But that's the plan for the week, is to, just keep grinding forward, working on uploading all that stuff so I can, whenever I don't need to wipe the hard drives to install or reinstall the OS, but especially in this situation, since I'm moving the OS from one hard drive to another, I do want to do a full wipe. So that's the number one priority right now. And then you have the renovations and the job search, which those don't even count as priority. They're always on. It's like breathing oxygen, right? Yeah. I would very much like to. Now I have this weird feeling where the coffee's working, but I still have the brain fog and feel kind of tired. But so the energy's up, but I don't even know how to describe it. Wow, my neck just cracked. But yeah, so clearly my energy is up, but my focus isn't here because I can't figure out what I was saying. I do want to stream this week for two reasons. One, I want to react to the new Poppy song. And two, I still need to finish Amnesia: The Dark Descent from the Halloween stream. I got so close, and then I just got a really bad headache, and I couldn't finish it. we were in the sewer section, which I feel is pretty close to the end. I haven't looked up a guide or anything, so I don't know how close. But based on the narrative, it seems like we're damn close. I think one or two more sections till we reach the final area. I've actually really been enjoying that game. I had a lot more fun than I expected I would. I will, so I need to finish that game. And yeah, I will see you guys with the next one. I am going to check on those uploads and probably start organizing stuff in the basement if there's nothing I can do with those. So I will, I think I said this, but I'll see you guys on the next one. Cheers. I love all of you. And God bless America.